pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. We'll call a meeting to order. We do have a forum. Did anybody get it? Is AJ? Don't know. Shows up. Yep. No message. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda in the minutes. So I'll second it.
Keep walking.
I have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries. County engineer, morning.
I think what I'll get to is the budget and program. There's much reporting. Other than, we will probably try to get advertisement for an office assistant, not an engineer's assistant, but an office assistant to kind of replace Russ when the time comes. It's been trained in. So probably try to do that this week. As far as budget goes, I kind of dropped stuff off for you this morning to look at. So a lot of the budget, if you want to look at the sheet I handed you, the two-sided Excel spreadsheet, it's kind of the most current breakdown of our farm to market funding and our bridge funding on one side. The farm to market's on one side. So what you'll see is kind of trying to plan for one project every year for a paving project. But as you see in fiscal 24 and fiscal 25, I or at least 25 and 26, I lined out those projects because we can only borrow three years in advance. And we have an STP project in fiscal 27 that's going to require funding. And then if we want to do something later on in fiscal 28, we end up maximizing and borrowing too much ahead. We're already going to be about 2.5 years just after fiscal 24, and it takes us quite a while to build back up funding to do other projects. So right now they're programmed in those years just in case something changes. But in this calculation, I couldn't add them because we'd have already, even in fiscal 25, we'd have been over 3 years borrowed ahead. So trying to hold off money to save it. So those are the tentative projects that are planned for the next years until 28. With our estimated balances. Now you'll see too that the in the change column where it asks, for what we're getting every month, I kept it consistent. That's a conservative number because sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. We just never know what's going to happen. So that's the farm to market the farm to market funding. You flip over to the HBP side, again, trying to do a project a year with the limited amount of funding we get. We can borrow 4.5 years in advance. And if we keep these projects online in federal fiscal 27, we'll be teetering right toward that maximum 4.5 year borrow ahead. So, and that's assuming these prices or these estimated costs are consistent. And I don't know what prices are going to do in the next so many years, but they've been nothing but increasing and the funding hasn't. So this sheet is kind of important for me to start budgeting for roadway projects in general. If I can't find the funding, then I program things, but there's not always the funding to do it. So this is just an FYI of where the balances are for farm to market and our bridge funding. And then I don't know if you want to look at the 5-year program. I've got some things budgeted in or programmed in there. I don't like the way they propose, they show all this stuff. I think probably more importantly, this tells you what the projects are. The map is a really good view as to what we're going to be doing in the fiscal years ahead. So try to program some of them smaller local bridge projects that we're going to TIF for. I don't have them all in there. I just can't do all those in a year with staff and everything else to try to design all that stuff and get it done. So on the very back side of the budget sheet, it'll tell you in the very last sheet. Oh, sorry. On the program side, the very last sheet kind of summarizes what we're looking at for spending in each fiscal year through 28, whether it's local, part of market, or federal aid. So with the projects, we're looking at 1.1 million in local dollars. Some of that'll be that TIF money that we're going to use for those smaller bridges and stuff that we've got planned. Federal aid, that's $600,000 is going to be a bridge project. It's just a summary of the funding that we have, and those are in that one spreadsheet. So it's really hard to look at the way they've got this side or described, but the map is kind of maybe a better telltale of what we're going to be doing project wise around.
The one scheduled there for Fertile Township there for 24. You only have going up to number 9 there. What about that mile south to Saragordo County?
So I think, does that road dead end on the gravel?
It does.
And based on the traffic, I didn't think it was going to get that much traffic that we'd probably hold off on that one.
Okay. Just had some complaints on last year after you.
Well, yeah, I look at that and I looked at Wheeler Road because I did the same thing. Wheeler Wood dead ends to a gravel road. Do we expend our funding to go those extra distances for dead ending on gravel? Yes or no? I guess we can probably look at other maintenance things to take care of that mile. But we're getting to the point where we're, if you got Wheeler Wood south of 9, yeah, that goes to Hamlin Town,
right?
But it also dead ends on gravel also. Traffic counts are a lot lower there. Do we save some of that money and put it somewhere else? We can probably take care of those stretches of road internally with our Durapatcher, or maybe we can do some random patching. But for now, that's why I didn't put it in there. It was just because of the low traffic counts and they did end to gravel. That, one could argue they probably should have never been paved to begin with because they did end in gravel, but we've got a couple of those too, Vine Avenue being one. So that's why I didn't put it in the program.
I expect you to get anything done or get caught up with this crap. There's not enough money for nothing, is there?
Well, and I've always been a little bit neglectant to use seal coat. It's a temporary fix to get a sealed surface back onto an asphalt road, and it gives you 5 years and you got to do something else. I can see a lot of it, even in Minnesota. They'll do seal coat on good asphalt roads when they're fairly new yet. And in time, all they do is pothole back out. Then you got potholes to deal with because the seal coat doesn't always stay.
Is that kind of what they did to Interstate 35?
That was a micro surface type deal, and it didn't work. And it's
horrible. Meetings. Why did you do that? It's terrible.
That was you even go further south, and that is one of those things where they were trying to be efficient with dollars. I'm not going to speak for the state, but they were trying to get the ride back into the road and thought that it's a really brittle mix, it's a really hard mix, but once it flakes, once it peels, it continues to peel. And it didn't work. No, that's a different type of a seal coat's more of our Durapatcher type oils. They're a little bit more flexible, and that's the other thing too is they seal the surface to keep the water from getting back in, but they don't last forever either. And so, yeah, it's hard to manage all that with the amount of money we get, but maybe we minimize, instead of doing a 3-inch overlay, maybe we only put a riding surface back on. But again, you're only going to get so many years out of that thin surface, and you're always going to get the cracks to come back unless you do some sort of cold in place recycle. That's not a guarantee either. Or cold in place recycle, you're going to get thermal cracking. You're probably not going to get all the reflective cracking that comes through from the movement of the bases underneath. But I I always think if you can afford to put the more down, you can get more life out of it versus trying to do something for 5 years. You know, we've done some other things on some other roads that didn't have enough structure underneath to do a cold in place recycle. So we added some asphalt to it. And 3 years later, you're sealing all the cracks that come back through, just trying to get the ride back. And it looks terrible. The ride's okay, but it looks terrible. And you just don't have enough structure underneath to do what we need to do. And it's been years and years where, you know, okay, we'll pave this gravel road, put a little bit of asphalt on it because it's going to be nice and smooth. And in the meantime, 10 years later, it's fallen apart. So you add another layer, and but there's not a whole lot to mix in with the rest of it. Start mixing black dirt with a full depth reclamation. And then you start putting additives into the soils to stabilize them. It's not cheap to rebuild the bases, but we try to do the best we can with what we have for funding without trying to borrow too much money or talk about TIF too much. But so what we've got, and I think the actual budget is a little bit different. So projected this year's budget is to spend. I think the total expenditures are expected to be 6.6 million, 6,686,031 dollars, all based on estimates. In the previous years, we've been lower than that with a carryover balance of $182,000, which is small, but the trend I'm seeing for this fiscal year is we're going to carry over some balances anyway. So I think that 182,000 will be substantially higher than that for carryover. Depends on how efficient we are when we get done this year with spending. So it's always hard to project stuff in December, and then between December and now when the DOT stuff is ready, predict what prices are going to do. But the biggest things are probably not looking at much of a change in everything. The equipment budget is substantially higher than it usually is. And prices are staying. It's hard to fathom what we can get for $750,000, but I think it's best to just buy it outright and to try to make payments every year. Not really much increase on anything else that fluctuates. So I don't know. I didn't give you a whole lot of time to look at it, but yeah, well, it's half Greek and it changes. I don't know if you have any questions on the budget program. If not, I'd like to get it submitted.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I hate that it is what it is comment, but it is what it is. It's the best I can come up with right now for the funding we have and trying to prioritize the projects that we think we have in need. So
I'll take a motion to approve the secondary roads FY24 DOT budget and program.
Motion to approve. No, second.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Discussion on local option sales tax SF 550.
So we got an email from our affiliate that, and I don't know, Jackie, if you're familiar with that SF 550 either. I didn't get a whole lot of chance to look at it. I think the gist of it is you have local state wants to tell you how to spend it.
And decide how much you get.
And decide how much.
Yeah.
So what some counties, we don't have to act on anything today, a resolution, but you might want to look into it a little bit more before we pass one. But I think the resolution just states, hey, look, it's our option for the local sales tax. Our voters voted on it, stay out of our pockets. And that's the message that most counties are trying to send to legislatures. You know, we have a hard enough time funding our stuff. We don't need you telling us how to do it. So it's just something I wanted to bring to your attention, to maybe review. Like I said, we don't have to do anything with it today. I wanted to read a little bit more about it. I got the information last week and I didn't get a chance to read the whole bill.
I said, sure,
Yeah,
we're
Basically,
registered against it. It's-
basically just said that we're gonna raise the sales tax by 1%. And then take away the lost.
We'll take away our local.
Yeah, I'll take away our local option and then that 1%. 3 cents gonna go to I will. So, yeah. It basically takes away what we want to do.
Well, not everybody has local option.
Yeah,
We do.
spreading it out.
so the ones that don't have local option benefit from it.
We'll
yeah.
now get a percentage. of that
We'll
money.
get some.
You know, and to me, and I've chewed on my senator and representatives ears bad about, you know, this is local people voted for this, they're the ones that pay a good portion of it. Leave them alone, leave our local money alone, because you guys get it, and maybe more, it may be different. What's gonna happen is they're gonna cut something in a few years, what they're gonna cut's that money, and then pretty soon we're gonna be back to an issue.
Mhm.
So they just need to keep their mitts off it. and
Well-
express that very big.
And that's kind of what the resolution is kind of set up for, was to say, look, leave us alone.
Mhm.
We can manage our own money.
I did read in there about the state backfilling. That right at the beginning. Did you reading it?
They're gonna,
And we know how the backfill works. We ran into that with the 10% on commercial and industrial.
they're gonna cut, let's cut it, it'll change.
They'll just change down. They don't have anything.
That's just a gap fix to make it happen.
Mhm.
They'll take it away. So,
So I mean, that's what I just wanted to bring up. And I didn't know whether Jackie should put it on or I should, but it came through our affiliate saying, hey, look, this, because some other counties will use local option sales tax to fund construction projects, and then pretty soon you take that money from the locals and they don't have the work they can do. So,
Floyd County, I know for a fact, they like approximately 700,000 all the secondary roads.
Yeah.
That's their rock,
Mhm.
their maintenance, you know, you start doing that, you start pulling $700,000 a year
Big deal.
that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So. Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
That's about what it is down there.
And basically, if you sign the resolution, it goes to King Cash. And they pass it on, no, you guys feel.
Hopefully they fight, focus a little harder.
Right
That
now,
would be
this is a
right.
discussion, but it's a resolution on this.
I think we have a
think-
kind of somebody already invented the wheel in the resolution, just kind of showing support that we don't want that.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
It's probably did.
I don't remember what township it was, or what county it was, but you sent it to us. We just,
So, I mean, we don't have to do anything about it today, but I
No.
wanted to throw it in front
I
of you.
would definitely say stand in support
Mhm.
or against it. I mean, try to get it on for action.
More of action.
Get it
thing,
off.
yeah.
you need
I
a
wouldn't-
motion on that, but
Well, there is no more. We'll have to do it.
you just have to deal with a resolution now.
This is just discussion.
Yeah, I think we have to stick it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sooner the better.
This is off topic, but is anybody allergic to wasps?
I saw him. Yeah, I'm a
So
little-
keep your eye out.
Allergic.
Anyway,
And then I did kind of get our bridge consultant to go ahead and start working on a plan for our the annual oversized permit procedures stuff. So they're going to analyze routes, and then once they analyze routes that we think we can fit, they'll give us a cost for rating certain bridges and routes. There might be that if the bridges are already posted, that's not going to be a route. So they're going to look at the routes we have as far as hard surface first and say, look, these bridges, this route has no posted, which I already kind of know what we have for posted bridges everywhere, but they'll look at it and say, look, this one's going to need to be rated. Or if there's ones that aren't posted yet, they might need to rate them anyway, just because they could be teetering on that borderline of being posted or not. So they're going to work through that. It's going to cost us a few $1,000s to have them analyze that, and then we'll look at that route. I think there's some we can put on right away that I'm going to have the staff try to. The one to the ethanol plant would be one of them right off Highway 9. That one can be because there's no bridges on there.
Yeah, good. So
Well, if you get on Highway 9, you can, but it's trying to get to Highway 9 if you live somewhere else.
Right.
So
I was over Winnebago County last week for the joint drainage district meeting. Was there discussion on that? And was there something that you signed up on already, you start getting money for?
Yeah,
Put
you
a
do.
mile in there, you get, so you
Yeah.
got like 10 grand.
Yeah, everybody got it the first month. And then we got our second check and it's tapered down.
Okay.
They're gonna come up with a formula.
Yep.
And it's gonna probably change everything to
Right.
where you're probably not getting a whole lot. I think they're gonna look at I don't know if they're gonna look at the trucks that are registered in which county, and they'll try to make a formula work that way. I don't know how they're gonna do it yet, but yeah, that's right. It did. And we were trying to get stuff in before January. It just didn't happen to get even a half a mile in there. Just didn't get it all in, but
One of the discussions was one of the supervisors drove his truck too. He said, unless you do the whole county, he said it's really gonna be tough for anybody who's on the road.
Yep.
Our gravel roads are tough. Yeah, you just gonna take a lot of that, not be able to run. So, getting a direct route to.
and the thing is we could probably open up the whole county, but everybody that applies for a permit is going to have to check the route themselves and find out whether there's a posted bridge on it or not.
Right.
And then you've got to figure out.
Which is always your responsibility.
Right, exactly. It would be nice to say, these are the routes that we have that could take it, but you start looking at 700 miles of roads and which combination of routes can work for somebody. You might be driving 10 miles out of your way just to take that extra load to market, but we'll look at the bridges. And that's the other thing too. Once we start getting those out there and you start looking at, well, this bridge can't take it anymore. So now where does the county start to rehabilitating bridges to take heavier loads?
Right.
And then where does that money come from? When you get $20,000 a month from the feds for your bridge program.
Which if we get all these bridges evaluated, would that even affect it if we just, they said the heck with this and with the governor's proclamation in the fall, would it just give you that extra?
Well, they can give you the extra, but you still got to be able to drive over the bridge.
Right, so I mean, none of our bridges.
Oh, you're saying-
Bridges rated already.
Yeah. Posted.
For their one.
Mhm.
Now, if we go through this process and find some more bridges, look at 80,000 is the max on there, so now you post that bridge, so you know, proclamation. You would
Yeah.
not be able to run on that.
Right.
bridge.
Right. It's a catch.
Yeah, it's cash. I mean,
I don't like what they did.
I wish they'd just give you a percent or two. And if you exceed that percent, then they're gonna find the heck out of you. So
Right.
Just that little bit of extra.
Well, and they give you all that extra too, and you still can't overload your axles. So, oh, everybody, so. But and the thing I don't like about the whole situation is I understand that the heavier trucks traveling down the interstate can be more serious accidents causing from it, but yet we got to sacrifice our roads that aren't built to the standards of the federal highway system, and they don't allow those heavier loads on their system. I get the traffic counts and the speed and the weight, but man, we can't support too many more heavier loads before we start looking at it. You don't see it right away on the deterioration of the pavements, but it's going to accelerate the deterioration of most of our pavements.
Kick back more funding for repairs.
Yeah. And we won't, where did that money come from? So.
Yeah.
Anyway, just for discussion, I want to let you know that we're going to evaluate those bridges and try to get something through there.
Okay.
Anything else for Rich? Thank you, Rich.
Thanks.
Drainage claims, I didn't see any. So we will go on to Silver Lake Voluntary Drainage District. Proposed DD 76 discussion, establishment of a drainage district.
You guys.
That's you guys would like to go first.
I guess. the point here. Remember the DD 76, which was formed in 1956. It's about a 3,000 acre drainage district. It was engineered and at that time and dug out, paid for by landowners, and it was set up to have a group of trustees, which we were just kind of voted in a few weeks ago to proceed with this. Kind of been lacking in leadership the last several decades, and now we're trying to get some leadership, some an annual meeting to suffice. And we're struggling with, if we do repairs in each ditch, we've got the percentages to bill everybody, but we don't have a lot of enforcement if a party chooses to squeal at a repair bill. So other counties have done what's called trustee district. They talked to Al a few weeks ago regarding this. There's a few in Winnebago County and a few in Worth County, and or not Worth County, Cassuth County. And we're kind of curious what it would take to turn the financial part into the county and still have a group of trustees.
Keep it private.
Keep it private. And as I understand, I talked to the trustee from the Winnebago County District, and all the repairs go through the trustees. The repairs are paid by the trustees. And the county auditor keeps a little kitty to pay for repairs. He thought it was between $8,000 to $10,000 of taxpayer landowners assessments. And which repairs are made, that trustees okay it, they send call the auditor that this bill is coming, and the auditor pays. If we do the repair as trustees, we gotta have a bond checking out. Or bill everybody individually. Benefit percentage.
Right.
Will they actually pay ahead? Is what you're saying? They do keep. So you keep
People
a
don't-
certain amount.
I was, that's new to us, yeah, because that's the, it's.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
That would be ideal.
no, we don't.
No,
Get some money for repairs now, don't you?
Not very
No, not
much.
very much.
Well, that's, I mean, what's
Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Oh.
You're talking,
You shoot for $1,000.
if you get $5,000.
Okay, maybe I overstated that.
No, I mean, it's close.
Ken, I don't
Yeah.
know.
You wouldn't have $5,000 to do a repair.
I might have overstated
Yeah.
that, but you do something similar. Oh.
Yeah.
With established districts,
Yeah.
and this isn't an established district.
So Don, I called and talked to Winnebago, Polk County, Mitchell County, and Cerro Gordo County and kind of asked them what they do. So with theirs, they're not private ditches, they're established county ditches. But instead of having the board of trustee or the board of supervisors trustees, they have landowner trustees.
Okay.
But it's still an established district.
And
It's not a private.
are we not an established district?
So I looked back through all the paperwork that I had.
Which wasn't
I
much.
kind of made a timeline, and I even went to the recorder's office, got everything. Back in January of 55, in the Board of Supervisor minutes, they wanted to establish DD 76. And that was Schmidt-Huber. Yep. They did a contract bond in February of 55. And then there was some other stuff. In 56, they wanted to have all charges go to the Silver Lake Voluntary Drainage District per Selmer Gunderson. And then in 56, later that November, Selmer Gunderson refused to pay the bill. And then it kind of went down a little bit to where in 57, there was a petition from Stanley Helgeson stating that the landowners denied and dismissed establishment of the drainage district, that they didn't want it established. And then back in 58, there was recorded documents that were notarized back in 56.
Right.
So that kind of went backwards. So how I read it in 57, they said, no, we don't want the district.
You run by Hudson.
I kind of sent this to him, but he really, I haven't heard anything back from him on this yet.
Yeah.
So, but he said you'd have a process to go through to be an established district.
How many
It's about
non-active landowners you got around there, or that don't live in the area? How many, almost 2,000 acre district, I mean, how many? 40%.
The meeting that Randy spearheaded the 3 weeks ago. We figured we had about 60% of the
Landowner.
well, the benefit.
Okay.
So. Couple of the larger benefits. The larger ones like right. But nothing smaller.
And then, you know, the issue we've been having with old assessment stuff is that
Right.
they're not really,
I mean, my guess would be, you said you've got an assessment schedule, but it's properties not up to current date. I mean, that's up to you guys to be satisfied with. That's some people actually get on, but. And we just went through this with another district, the same person wanted to do it, and then somebody said, no, I don't want to do it. And, well, you know, same token, it's getting hard to collect in their absentee landlord that don't live in there, don't understand what's going on. And. You know,
and if any engineering was done, we don't have any of that information.
right.
If,
I have some of the information, but it's how it's.
Well,
Oh.
It's from the 50s.
Yeah.
because if somebody helped you construct it, or help them construct it, we don't have any of that.
If I read the information, I it started as a county established, and then it was.
It's like they-
Yeah,
They
tried. to
went
get-
forward. And then it sounded like the people, they just kind of decided, no, we don't want it. Yeah,
I don't think it was built even.
They
I
tried to
would say-
establish the district is the way I read it, and then the landlords got together and said, no, we don't want to do that, we want to do it ourselves. So it never really got,
No,
the way I read it, it did never get formed. a drainage.
Yeah.
it was engineered. It's not just it was dug, it was engineered, but.
because I thought at first it was established because they had filed recorded in 58, but it was notarized and signed back in 56. And in 57, at a meeting, they said they didn't want it. So
so we don't have specs or plans or anything.
No,
I don't think it
somebody
got
might
there.
would have had, I guess somebody would have kept.
I do have some of
You have some of them now.
But through the county, it didn't get that far.
Well, so we, number one, we need to definitely get an opinion about some of this, see if we do anything. You know. It's,
because if you guys were like an established and then you guys were just the trustees.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe that's not a hard step to follow.
Yeah.
If, you
there's a
know,
lot of counties that do that.
But that's still a process that.
probably still a process. but
And then you guys would hold the meetings instead of like them holding the
Yeah.
meetings.
We would love it. You guys can do it.
We aren't asking for any work done or.
No.
Yeah.
We just the building, but just.
Yeah,
I need to recess the regular session here. Take a motion, it's 9:02 and we need to take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that
I have a motion second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's public hearing, proposed property tax levy.
That's how I broke down all the papers.
Resolution on the 2023-09. Whereas the Worth County Board of Supervisors have considered the proposed FY24 county maximum property tax dollars for both general county services and rural county services. And whereas a notice concerning the proposed county maximum property tax dollars was published as required and posted on the county website and or social media accounts if applicable. And whereas a public hearing concerning the proposed county maximum property tax dollars was held on 4/10/23. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Worth County that the maximum property tax dollars for general county services and rural county services for FY24 shall not exceed the following: general county services of $4,456,150, an increase of 5.15% from the prior year, and rural county services of $1,695,289, an increase of 2.54% from the prior year. The maximum property tax dollars requested in either general county services or rural county services for FY24 represents an increase exceeding 102% from the maximum property tax dollars requested for FY24. Is there any comments or questions from the public? Is there anybody on Zoom that has any comments or questions?
Not seeing anybody on Zoom.
Anybody with any comments or questions on this? Maximum property tax dollars? If not, I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second? I have a motion, a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Public hearing is closed. I will reconvene the regular session. I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2023-09, the maximum property tax dollars for FY 24.
I will second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the maximum property tax dollars for FY 24. I'll take a roll call vote. Smeby.
Aye.
Stone.
Aye.
Lowberg, aye. The resolution is duly adopted.
And since we got that done, we can set the hearing date for budget and that I'm working with is at 9 o'clock.
Is there a motion to set the hearing date for April 24th at 9 a.m.?
So
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
And then can we talk to Heidi?
Do you want to do that right now?
She's on it.
Heidi. Are you on?
Good morning.
Good morning, Heidi.
How is everyone doing?
Um,
Okay.
You're going to review the finance plan?
Yes, I am. Does the board have a copy of the finance plan in front of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got emails on it.
You got emails on it. Perfect. Well, really today is just going to talk through the plan of finance, just to give the board a full update and bond 101 of where we're going as we're taking each additional step towards the financing of the general obligation urban renewal bonds. This will be a series 2023A. This will be to finance the roads and bridges that have been put in the urban renewal plan. And the county has held a hearing and approved the official statements with different actions in the prior weeks. These will be tax exempt, bank qualified bonds, and are a general obligation of the county, meaning that you have the full-fledged taxing authority to pay for these bonds. It is expected that you will pay these bonds back with TIF revenues. The repayment is, I have this repayment over an 8-year term, and it will be paid back semi-annually with interest being paid December 1 and principal and interest paid on June 1, just like the other bonds that the county has had. For this finance plan, I have an estimated interest cost of 3.61%. That's based off of rates as of just a couple weeks ago. And rates have been going down a little bit since then too. So I'm expecting to be better than that 3.61%, but for the plan, I have a 3.61 in there. The rates will be locked in until June 1st of 2029. And then after that date, you can prepay these bonds, or if rates have gone down at that point, you could refinance them. There'll only be 2 years left there. So really the option will be to prepay 2 years early if needed. The reason that we do have the rates locked in is because in the bond market, investors want to have their investments know what they're going to be paid for a certain period of time. I could shorten that call date up. However, we'd start seeing your interest rate start going up at that point. The county will have a rating associated with these bonds. And that rating call is scheduled for Friday, this week. And then we'll have a preparation call tomorrow morning just to go over the questions in the agenda that was sent over on Friday. This will be negotiated with Northland Securities. Northland Securities will be buying these bonds and offering them out into the market. The local banks within the county will be contacted and be offered these bonds in the public market. It's expected that the county will lock in interest rates on May 1st of 2023. The amount that this county will be borrowing is $6 million. And then I'm estimating that the amount for the proceeds will be $5,891,100 for the projects for the roads. The remaining will be for cost of issuance, including financing fees, legal fees, rating fees, will be paid out from the bonds. So there won't be any additional cost outside of the bonds. The bonds will be paying for any costs that are associated with them.
Okay. You guys got any questions for Heidi right now?
Very good explanation, because now I understand.
Oh, you do? Yeah, we'll have more to come this week with the rating. Expecting everything to go very well. And then once we get this priced and locked in, your interest rate locked in on May 1st, we're expecting to close and have proceeds in hand by May 24th.
Okay,
Sounds good.
sounds good, Heidi. Anything else for us, Heidi? Is that about it?
Really just wanted to get the finance plan in front of you to see if there's any questions or concerns with the board before we kind of really get moving forward to locking in these interest rates. So.
Okay. Thank you. We'll be in touch this week.
Sounds good.
All right. I guess we'll get back to, sorry about that, gentlemen. Guess we were discussing whether this had ever originally got set up or.
Yeah, just curious if it can be set up, if we can do it.
Or legal opinion.
Yeah, we probably just have to run it, try to get an answer out of Jim Hudson on it to see, because they're in Iowa Drainage Code and how it all worked.
Yeah.
And I know the trustee thing is there because we obviously get it for the rest of the stuff, but I know there can be trustees that are appointed to districts too, which wouldn't hurt my feelings with one bit.
Yeah.
If you guys had a group of trustees that want to take care of that, it wouldn't
At
bother.
our meeting a few weeks ago, that was kind of, consensus if we're gonna keep it within ourselves.
Right.
It's really not had a meeting for decades. And eventually there's gonna have to be some things. So I talked to Hudson myself shortly before the meeting, so he's the guru.
Yep.
If we can proceed that way, that's what we're interested in. What the next steps are, we're not sure, but we'll
I think we'll just have to get a hold of Hudson and then just see what the next steps are for making it established.
Okay.
And then see how that works for the future of.
So, yeah, and I'm not an attorney, it'd be up to him to say, but even if, you got this established and stuff, you might have to do some updating. That might require some engineering. You have to follow code just like we do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but, it'd be, it's more something to do.
It's possible. Steps are is what we're curious.
Probably gonna cost money too.
More than likely, gonna cost something.
So do you have Jim Hudson on retainer? So you can bounce these off him or?
That's
Like
what-
this question.
That's what we're doing.
I think his question is it gonna incur charges?
Oh, yeah, well,
And are those charges that are gonna be for?
because normally when you start, there should be a bond. And that would defer it, or that's where the money would go to, would be the start paying for the cost of, because there was a bond to start with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, because how I read the minutes, and then it said So basically, they had paid their preliminary costs, have requested that the establishment of drainage district herein be denied and dismissed, the petitioner's bond is exonerated, and the surety is thereupon released. So it's like they paid the bond, but then the bond was released back because they decided to dissolve, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I guess, we can dig into that further and see if there's any way to proceed that down that route.
And if you guys have an email, I scanned all these paperwork there and I can just email to you. So you guys can look at them a little closer and.
I have no. Yeah,
Yeah, we can get the legal opinion on it.
Yeah.
Figure out the proper way, then. So if you guys can decide from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we can't get there. We're on that pay grade, so.
Well, that's the worst part is it's just non-farmers, you know, that live in other states, they don't see the problems and.
yeah, I'm already good at
We're thinking of you.
At least,
It's free investment.
you know, at least the
But,
bulk of you guys
yeah.
are-
You know, I give out their numbers and their complaints. So I'll need.
Yeah, the information that you sent us in the email. That you scanned.
Yeah.
You guys get that. You'll.
That's just, I can forward that all to them so they have everything.
And I don't know, I forgot to ask if there's. Would be anything up at your office since it wasn't established. Yeah.
Probably, there are some.
Yeah, maybe you have something I didn't have in the office. And yeah, I looked in the basement, didn't see anything down there.
Some paper in the box.
Really cool.
So I guess I'm gonna hang around for the issue.
What's up next?
Can we do?
You want to do that 2080?
We do claims in the 2080s so we can. Get now.
I'm gonna drop down to, well, I'll take a motion to approve the claims if you guys have reviewed them. I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Then I'm gonna drop down to 12, a 28E agreement. Sharing of mental health advocate between Iowa County's Sioux, Winnebago and Ward. Any,
And that's basically, you need the mental health advocate. She's been hired by Winnebago. And that's why there was the agreement between Winnebago and Sioux, because the Sioux ends up paying for. Because she's their employer of record is Winnebago County, so that's why there was that agreement between Cassuth and Winnebago, or MOU. And then, so then this is just us agreeing that she's still gonna be covering us too.
And that's all paid through the region.
Yes,
Yes, so it's not, so we have, state says we have to have. it.
Yep.
Yeah,
pretty much.
outside of. The region, so. We don't get much of a choice now.
Nope.
It's just the way it goes. So,
is there a motion to approve the 2080 agreement on the mental health advocate?
I'll motion to approve it.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I'm bound to see your driver's license.
Probably are.
Is it just you or you too?
I just look for the chairman and sign it. You too?
Let's see your driver's license too.
Yeah. You just look like you.
Do you know the ground for 6 and?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to-
You are the clerk.
Please.
Trying to get stuff.
Okay. Now we'll get back up to discussion, possible action on the repairs to DD6.
It looks like for sure we got clarification.
Yeah.
This is a little more.
Rock
broke
distance.
down, so.
That's 39,000.
From Elliott,
Yes.
No, it was 52,000.
52,000. There was a total of the two numbers.
There's a total, and then because they weren't gonna clean out that other 2,100
You just
feet,
took that
we
off.
took about $2,250 off of it, right?
So I called him this morning to verify because he had sent a response email. I forwarded to you guys, and then he sent another one. And then he sent another email saying disregard. So I called him this morning, I'm like, which one am I disregarding? So his wife had sent the other one, I guess, by mistake instead of this one. So the one, and I put it on your desk there, the printed one for 59 is the correct
52.
52.
Yeah.
The original one, we were supposed to add both those lines together.
Yeah.
Because we had thought that, but we weren't for sure.
I was pretty sure the way I read it, but he didn't respond that day. He was having
Right.
phone issues. And stuff. Like I say, he just responded to that message like Saturday. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
whatever happened there, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
So,
this weekend.
The only question I've got on it is, it says here in number 2 on his bid, to remove the stumps within 50 feet from the center of the ditch each way and burn the stumps on the job site. What doesn't burn up, is he gonna bury? Because it doesn't say that here. Or just take. Because on the original one, it did say right here to bury the stumps on top of the bank after the trees are burned out. So that's the only thing I saw that was different. Yeah.
That must be included in whatever it takes to get the job done.
That's what I thought too. I just wanted to double check with you.
so. Where you say Jerry is at about 76.
He's at 76,
Cleaning and
for clearing and grubbing the trees. Where this one here is at 52. So
Yeah, but the first one sent in was total of 2, right?
Yeah.
15,000 and 30.
39,250.
we didn't add it together that day. We were taking each one of them.
Right.
One of the landowners brought it to attention.
Okay, so that was supposed to be a total then for all of it. Now we're down to just the 2,900 feet,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
For 52,000.
Yeah, so the original to do everything was 54,250. So basically it's
So knock off-
$2,000 off.
Yeah, I knocked that 2,250 off for not cleaning that other 2,100 feet.
Understand now.
So-
The Jerry's at about 7677. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For just the cleaning and grubbing.
And this one does include with A1 excavating, if there needs to be seeding done.
Yep.
It just doesn't include crop damage and it doesn't include any riprap
Which,
that needs to put in there, but we won't know that till it.
which is the only project that you pay for, buddy.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the repairs of DD6 on 2,900 feet.
Septic. Second,
I have a motion and second to approve the repairs from A1 excavating out of Joyce for $52,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
we also still have the classification annotation.
Yep.
For discussion.
Mhm.
So, and we did get an email on the rough idea of the cost there. It's $5 per acre per schedule for reclass and reclassification, then annex and right away was just a total of $5,000. So I don't know how many schedules there.
Would it be scheduled for every ladder?
Yeah.
And the main. So I don't know how many that is.
I don't remember how many laterals we have there.
I mean, it's kind of iffy, so we're in favor of those
Yeah.
against it, I guess, but
Because I mean, for this project, I do have a lat 9 schedule that we could use.
you
For
do
this,
have a
if-
exit Latin, that's good.
I do have a lat 9 schedule, so if we end up not
So you're-
reclassifying and all that before, we could use that.
But
It's-
if we get into reclass, we'll want to wait until after it
Yeah.
happens.
Because I have 71 parcels in that.
District or in Latin.
In Latin 9 and benefited acres 2,294.
But is it original?
I guess
or has
Oh,
it-
I guess I would just,
I guess at the
I couldn't
meeting,
find
there was more people against doing it than there was for, but that's just,
I had a call.
That was a
I had a
second.
call, it was
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
definitely for,
what's that?
I had one call, it was definitely for.
Well, there's a couple guys at the meeting, and that's what,
Guys,
The first meeting, they were.
yeah, more interested, yeah. You know, we can leave it, I guess, and this gets started, if somebody wants to turn on and sign a petition, reclassify, they could.
It'll need done eventually sometime.
It's gonna need
yeah,
it.
it's gonna sooner or later.
Well, and we could see how this project goes, because what if somebody else comes up and says, hey, my part didn't get taken care of, we get burnt on that every time.
Well, I mean, part of the ditch or whatever,
Yeah,
somebody wants some more work done, and opens up your can of beans, but.
Mhm.
But you know, you do have up to 200,000 almost in repairs that don't need to go through engineering.
Is that per project or per?
It's per project. That's the way I would read the sheet, or that's the way I understood it.
but they're
That's the way I read it too.
you're supposed to be looking at the district as a whole, and looking at.
Well,
So,
Everything you do opens a can of worms, legal questions that,
Or over our pay grade.
yep.
But a year ago, you're saying damn engineers.
I hear that all the time. So I guess I've been in it long enough now, Jeff. Yeah, I don't like it, but I accept it because it's needed. I mean, it's definitely, but there's a lot of things that they do bring to the table that we don't. Unfortunately,
It helps my job.
it helps your job.
The engineers didn't create the law.
Yeah.
We need
I-
more.
which were all written by lawyers.
Then we wouldn't have these.
Well, you're the only potential DD6.
I was leaving.
No, the only question to you is you foresee any future projects there in the next 5 to 10%? I guess you know it better than I do.
There's gonna be a lot of repairs, I don't know,
Yeah,
say projects.
nothing major you can foresee.
No,
It's
I
maintenance.
mean, it seems to
I
flow.
mean,
It seems
the
to-
last meeting, last week, when
Yeah.
we had issues with the bids.
Right.
There wasn't a big consensus to get it reclassified,
No,
but I wasn't at the very first meeting either.
I do know there's some land that's probably painted in the shed, and there's some that are kind of in there that they can probably prove they can take out, you know, because they've got the new tile, and they run in different directions and
Yeah.
things like that. So there's definitely some landowners that will benefit and some that maybe won't, you know, but
I say we just move on with this project and
yeah.
if we'll find some agreement with them, then it's just gonna get
Maybe
reclassified.
later if we have repairs come up, then
That's it, we just let it go for now, and
I mean, I'll take it
Yeah.
one signature.
Do the repairs from now and just let it,
if they decide that they wanna do it.
because it is more fair, there's just no two ways about it, that we cost.
It gets to be. Like I say, they're all taking one landowner come in and say, hey, I want to reclassify. That will do it, so. We should go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Next up is DD two, set a date to open the project bids.
May 15th, 9:30.
I have a motion.
I will make that a motion.
Make that a motion, May 15th at 9:30, did you say?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and Bolton and Mink already sent me the notice to bidders letter to post in the paper. That's what's on that. So
Is there a second? I have a motion and second. Is there any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, now, is there any reports?
Yes.
Who are the reports?
We got sheriff's quarterly, reporters quarterly, auditors quarterly,
yes.
work, or
Call 'em this
sheriff monthly.
I'll be digging this afternoon.
Is there a motion to approve these reports? Is there a second? Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the reports. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Raise your hand. You have any payroll eligibility? Who's that?
It's a change.
A payroll change. Colton Kistner in the engineer's office from Rich to. It's based on $65,000, $60,000 a year on 35-hour a week. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any place again?
Maybe we should put a signature somewhere.
Working.
Shouldn't be too hard to do.
You got any liquor or cigarette? We have two manure management plans. Is that what you got? Oh, back up. I
Yes.
have. Oh,
Not a license.
What's in the green mug?
we have,
No, we're good.
this one here is a,
Oh,
this is a alcohol for Bracky's Country View Acres. Is there a motion for the? Is it second? Second. A motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
oh, so you-
Why? I do know the combination to get in. Where is that located? By Joyce? Right out across, yeah, from my mom's house. You know, that's it. Well, on 30th Street.
Did I pass the claims going around? Yeah, I could get those guys to sign it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got manure management, you got two of those.
Motion to acknowledge whatever the things for.
CDL and Nate, what's more tip?
Second.
I got a motion in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. You have to sign anything there, just.
Yep.
Okay. Now, a professional agreement between WSP USA Environment and Infrastructure Incorporated and Worth County. We need to approve that agreement between them. It's what I read in the email. It's a Worth County multi-jurisdictional hazardous mitigation plan, and it's 100% funded, 90% federal and 10% state.
Mark might want to talk about.
So he's got grants. Are you on, Mark?
I am, yeah. I didn't know we were actually gonna discuss it today, but that's fine. As long as the county attorney's okay with it. It looks great to me. They added the components that they didn't have in there that FEMA requires. When I sent it back to them, they added that and it meets the requirements as far as I can tell for it. And that'll get the ball rolling for our hazard mitigation plan update that's required every 5 years. And then we'll get going with that. So that includes community meetings and such, so.
Any questions for him?
Part of the process, isn't it?
Yep. I
It
guess
is.
I will take a motion to approve the professional agreement between WSP USA Environment and Infrastructure and Worth County.
So moved.
I got a motion in a second. Any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Board appointments, anything on NICOG eminent domain yet?
I was still with Tim down there, but if you found a council member or somebody for NICOG.
Okay. Winworth Becca with Melissa. Are you on, Melissa? I guess we'll see you later this morning too.
Yep. And then after that, I go down to Ames for until Wednesday night. And then I'll be back in Northwood for the advisory board meeting. And I have a guest speaker coming in to talk about the rural housing readiness assessment. So I've invited all the city clerks to that as well.
Okay. Anything you guys got? Okay,
See you in a little bit.
see you in a little
All right.
bit. EMS continued discussion. We have a workshop Thursday night at 7 p.m. Have you guys got a hold of most of your mayors, or can they bring a representative?
I heard back from Grafton, John can't be there, but I think we could try to find somebody to
Okay.
fill in for him, but Manley will be there, Tim, hope people will be there.
Yep, and I know North is gonna send a representative to it, so,
The sun runners out. Send a representative, so
okay,
I'll let you contact them. They show up, they show up.
alrighty. Chris, probably, Chris, what's going on?
He just wants them.
Department head discussions, anything?
Haven't heard nothing from OSHA, but they are removing the asbestos over in the other building. After we asked for a continuance on it, then OSHA said, well, why are you continuing it after they said not to go into it? That's a messed up thing that the asbestos people are over there. We did have the fire alarm. It was just the check of the box last week. Everything checked out good for once. We don't have to pay for anything. And myself and my office manager and Alex are back up. We will be gone next Sunday, or this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday down to Civil School in the morning.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Want to talk about?
Okay. For the safety committee, one of the things that they want us to do annually is just a review of the safety manual. And so I'll send an email out as a reminder to department heads, but I'll mention it here also quickly too, is just take a few moments, go through the safety manual, the general part of it, review it. If you see any changes or whatever, send those either to me or somebody that's on the safety committee. And we'll look at them in our next meeting, which is May 8th, after the Board of Supervisors meeting. And so that we can get that logged into the OSHA or into the safety manual review. And then if there's ever an OSHA issue, they can say it was reviewed. So, that's one of the things that Jim was talking about is you need an annual review of the safety manual. So
Okay.
I'll send a reminder out.
Did you hear something, Jim?
Yeah, Jackie had sent me your notice for Friday's meeting on the rating for bonds. I don't see anything in there that you're gonna want me to talk about or they're gonna want me to talk about. I'm assuming it's telephonic hearing. If something comes up, I'm around, I'm in the office, give me a call. I don't know exactly when it is, but I don't think you need me.
Yeah, I've just never seen your name on it before. You threw me.
Well, I've never participated in the past, all of the lawsuits that we've got going on are all covered by insurance, and we have insurance attorneys that are representing us. I really don't know what the deals are. I think we've got enough coverage that we're not in danger of exceeding the limits of our malpractice liability insurance.
Okay. Thank you.
I have, we're supposed to be doing a disaster recovery test today or this week down with IP Pathways in Des Moines. They're going to be spinning up our systems. So I'll be working with probably some of the people in different departments to get connected and make sure data's there and they're able to access what they need to do.
Good. All right. Supervisor weekly report. I went to the Northwood Volunteer Fire meeting on Monday night. It was very informative, very good. And other than that, we all met with the union rep. Sure. That's what I had.
I just had the Shara watershed, our engineers came up again and we're still working on a comprehensive plan and everything's going really good there, so. And about typical quarterly meeting and planning session, so that's all I had.
Yeah, attend the meeting over the joint meeting on Bear County today. We okayed it, and they're going to set up the public hearing for For that, so I had that, and then I did attend the Paragon Energy landowners meeting Thursday night, I think it was. They'll probably be coming in to talk to us, so I suggested they come in and give their spiel, and that way come directly from them, so. What their plans are, so. They'll probably be hearing from them at some point, I hope. They said they're gonna be back in the area for something. We'll try to set it up. Come in and talk with us,
Well, you also did the fire meeting.
and I did the fire.
I did them both. I don't know that it was all that interesting the second time.
Agenda items, I don't, is there, I don't see. Yes, it is.
As long as I don't have to go on 3 days.
I don't think there's, we bounced around just about, I mean, look and see if we missed it. I think so too, in that case, then I will take a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. I have mentioned second to adjourn the meeting, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, meeting is adjourned.